keeps me knowing that you can have it all. Responsible for yourself, knowledge is rough. Keeps me knowing that you can have it all. With the 7 habits, you will be a leader for the rest of your life. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Together is better, synergize you should. Sharpen the saw, balance feels best. These habits will stop you from making life a mess. Respect on the bus, in a team of trust, keeps me knowing that you can have it all. Responsible for yourself, knowledge is wealth, keeps me knowing that you can have it all.
Hello, I'm Robin Loy. I'm the College and Career Readiness Counselor through the kid-friendly Race to the Top grant for Adair County Schools, and I'm very excited to share the amazing things happening in our district. Our district has really made an intentional focus on creating personalized learning experiences for all of our students across the district. We've really shifted. It's been a real culture shift here in Adair County, and that's been spurred on by our participation in this grant. And we've really shifted our mindset from a we can't do this because we've always done it this way to a new way of thinking, and we're willing to give things a try now.
One thing that we had not done in the past was move 2nd grade on to 3rd grade, in that they were in 2 different buildings. And this year we even overcame that boundary, in that we were able, through our transportation department, to take 3 of our students who are at 2nd grade levels, move them on to 3rd grade. They spend every morning over at ACES working in a 3rd grade classroom and are excelling and doing well in that setting. And that just goes hand in hand with our standards-based program that we've implemented. When you get a progress report at the primary level, you're not looking at percentages or letter grades. You're looking at actual skills and actual levels of knowledge that those students have mastered or are working on or are struggling with. So when a parent sees their progress report, they can really know exactly what a student is able to do, what a student is working on, and what a student still needs additional help in order to master. And that goes hand in hand with a lot of the assessments and a lot of the interventions that we're doing, because everything we do in the classroom is tied to those standards that we report on the progress report. Personalized learning is another thing that we've focused on, especially since we've gotten into the Race to the Top grant. And while personalized learning is a lot about the content and the skill levels and the interest levels of the students, we've also found out, especially with our age level students, they learn better in a setting where they're most comfortable. And if you walk through our school, you'll see classrooms that may not have any traditional chairs in them. They may have bean bags, they may have couches, they have one of the famous and most popular things we have in our school are the wobble chairs, which are especially great for fidgety young children. A lot of our teachers, it started with our teachers who were working in the Race to the Top program on the personalized learning, and they set up their classrooms, but it's spread throughout our entire school. I have teachers this year, as we're doing our needs for next year, that are wanting to move away from the traditional classroom setting and get more alternative seatings. They've even taken and recycled items like old tires and things from their home and made that into their classroom to make the classroom a more inviting setting where students can sit down, they can get comfortable, and they can learn in an environment that suits them.
I utilize alternative seating choices in my kindergarten classroom. My students have a choice as to where they prefer to complete their work, their centers, and other activities. In our classroom, you may see children completing tasks at a conventional table with a regular chair, on the couch, in the floor with a lap board, standing at a cafe table, in the floor with a wobble seat or a backjack chair, or in our classroom loft. I found that when students are given choices of where they can learn, they're more apt to take ownership of their assignments and complete them without hesitation.
So the Race to the Top grant has provided Adair County High School with many resources that have been beneficial to our staff and students. the additional support of a college and career readiness counselor, the addition of Leader and me, and all of those things have led to a more student-centered focus in our building. We've added additional programs to meet the needs of each individual student in our building. A couple of those that we are exceptionally proud of are the Indian University program that we started 3 years ago. It allows students within the building that have met college and career readiness benchmarks and have a sufficient GPA to enroll in up to 15 hours a semester at a college or university of their choosing. So we've had a lot of kids take advantage of that, receive a lot of credit hours. They get to do it at a dual credit rate, and it's been a great experience for those kids and also their parents, providing a nice transitional step between high school and college. We've added several opportunities for internships, job shadowing, co-ops, individualization of schedules for that. We added the Adair County Career and Technical Academy for a group of about 25 freshmen this year who have an individualized schedule, and they spend half their day at the Lake Cumberland Area Technical Center and half their day here doing a combination of traditional and online learning.
Hello, my name is Loy McQuaide, and I am the student board member at Adair County Schools. And I'm really grateful for this leadership opportunity because it gives me the chance to represent the student voice on a district level. So each month I get a packet of issues that will be on the board agenda each month, and so I have time to look those issues over, look at the information, and then consult with my peers. And so that way I can give constructive comments whenever I'm at the board meeting on issues that will affect students directly. I've really enjoyed being the student board member because these past 2 years I've gained a lot of experience on how to work well with other people, and I really gained a lot of insight on how complex a school district really is. It's given me a completely new perspective on what goes into all these decisions that affect students every day, and so I'm really grateful to have been exposed to that before I even get out of high school so I can have that experience. In the past 3 years that I've been at Adair County High School, I've really seen a change and a shift into teacher leadership in terms of clubs and extracurriculars, into putting that leadership ability into the hands of students. So this year I started a new club. It's the STEM Club, the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Club. And 3 years ago I wouldn't have had the experience, and I wouldn't have really had the ability to create that club and run it successfully. So through these past 3 years I've just gained so much experience and ability through the leadership roles that have been provided to me that I'm able to take that insight and use it for something better.
We are starting a new program in the fall of 2017 that we are calling Chief Nation, and it is a completion of high school in an early format. And what we're going to do is allow a group of kids that are interested in pursuing a career to have the opportunity to go ahead and start on that career at Christmas after completing some performance-based criteria. So we feel like that'll help them transition into whatever is going to happen after they complete high school. So the Race to the Top grant, the resources, like I said, have led to a culture shift and a mindset in Adair County High School that have definitely benefited everybody involved.
For you to sit in a classroom in rows with your feet planted in front of you 60 minutes a day for 175 days a year and make every student endure that is an injustice. What is performance-based education? First of all, well, it's simple. Performance-based education is looking at every individual student and saying, how does that student perform the best? You know, there's 4 things that are non-negotiable in Taylor County School District. 1, no kids are held back based upon their chronological age. We have abandoned age-based learning. 2, nobody's allowed to drop out of school. We haven't had a dropout in 7 years. We're not allowed to fail kids. Kids are not allowed to fail. Now, how can that be? We're simple. We're not going to fail them. We're not going to let a child sit in class, be bored to tears, not do the work. Let them learn the way they learn best. They don't have to sit in a class in an environment and be bored or not like the teacher. We'll change that environment to make them successful.
Within our model, we have the 6 spokes, but the 6 spokes allow you, if you still want to choose traditional, you can. If you still want to hold the paper book, you can. But it expands beyond that, to where if you don't like that traditional mode, then it enables you to have different options. We went away from the cookie cutter approach, where one size fits all, one education for all, and then we've literally tailored for all of our 2,600 students. We tailor their education to meet what their specific learning needs are.
We have 6 ways that our kids can learn, and we have 6 different ways our teachers can teach. It's set up in a wagon wheel, just like our instruction is set up in a wagon wheel, and you can walk around this spoke or this the rim of these spokes, and no matter what grade you're in, if you're in the 3rd grade and you read at 5th grade, you walk down to the 5th grade and you read at 5th grade. We're not going to make you sit in 3rd grade and read Jack and Jill ran up the hill when you can read a novel. You're going to go read the novel.
There's basically 2 different types of freedom, like the freedom of yourself and the freedom of your mind. And I feel like with this type of class, I'm completely free to take my language education the way I want. Last year, I was at the elementary, but I was doing self-paced 6th grade here. I'm reading the book Thief right now, and I've already read the Diary of Anne Frank, the play, and the book. I loved it. I love reading anyway, but it was really interesting to put history kind of in perspective because she was about my age when she went to high school. Being in elementary, they're like, okay, this is the class book and we're going to read this, and I wouldn't even enjoy the reading because I didn't get to choose. I mean, you still have to read a group book, but you're getting more of a choice in which direction you want to take it.
But imagine coming to school and not having a teacher, not having a schedule to follow. They don't have to go into a classroom and sit an hour. They can go in there and sit 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour if they want to. They get up, they're in charge totally, 100% of how they learn.
So for the past 6 years, going on 7, we've had 0 dropouts. We've had 100% graduation rate, and I really attribute a lot of that to the amount of options and choices educationally the students has. There really is a fit educational-wise. There's a fit style-wise for every student.
When you release the control over to the students and you see them latch onto it and they're empowered with that, I'm empowered, I'm responsible for my own learning. It is just, it makes you so happy as a teacher to see that. Like, you don't even worry about, am I in control, am I not in control? You start looking for ways to give those students more control over even more things in class. I didn't have to constantly worry about how am I going to differentiate? How am I going to take care of this discipline problem? Or how am I going to take care of this student?
As a teacher, wanting to make sure that every single child in that classroom gets it, being stuck up front and teaching a one-size-fits-all lesson, it was very frustrating.
I felt like I knew every single one of my kids on a personal level where exactly they were in math, and I could never have said that before. I thought I knew my kids before, and I had no clue compared to how I really could know them with this method.
Personalized learning looks different in different classrooms. One of the greatest challenges I face as a kindergarten teacher is the fact that students come to school at different stages of their learning and developmental levels. I find that this range makes it extremely challenging to meet the needs of the diverse learners, but that's what makes personalized learning so perfect for our kindergarten classroom. Students have the opportunity to use iPads in small groups. They use educational apps that enhance reading and math skills, and it is such a great resource for both our visual and auditory learners. I love teaching reading. It is my favorite part of the day. The reason why I love it is because I can address the varying ability levels in a small group setting. I use leveled text to teach students pre-reading and reading strategies, and I get to work with students on their own level to help them with word work skills, sounding out and decoding words, and I can help them improve their fluency as they work at their own pace. Because of our different levels, differentiation is the key in making students feel successful in this type of classroom.
series of practice has really helped me to refine some of my teaching skills and strategies. The hardest thing for me has been to give up a little bit of control and to actually put kids in charge of their own learning plan. I've learned that kids are capable of a lot more than we sometimes give them credit for, and it's been a very positive experience for my classroom.
Hi, I'm Mrs. McCall, and I teach 6th grade science at Union County Middle School. In this class, we do a lot of project-based learning, which is basically where my students work together, and it's very independent, it's very student-led, and they just work to kind of create something and then present that to an authentic audience. And I have done 2 big project-based learning units this year. One of our presentations, they presented to the 7th grade classes. And then on our last PBL, they presented to the high school coaches because our focus was on physics and sports. And so it's my goal that I can help educate other teachers in the building to use project-based learning and to really guide students to be successful and find that engagement and find a way that they can really love what they're learning about, and it really puts learning in their hand. My kids now have learned how to do Google presentations. They do Genius Hour projects where they pick a passion project and then they can present it in front of the class, so it's helped with their confidence. They know how to maneuver through Google Classroom, Google presentations, and they've gotten a lot faster on things than I can do them.
Success is achieved from Google Classroom for the kids. It's allowed them to actually go at their own pace, self-pacing, so they're not having to speed through content or slow themselves down for other people. They can just go at their own speed and they have more time to learn the content. And also, kids that are absent, they have access to everything at home.
No. Is there a cause and then an effect?
No.
No. So whenever we eliminate all of the other text structures and there is nothing else there, then we know that it's descriptive, right?
Right.
All right. What did you put? Descriptive? High five to you. Awesome job. My self-pacing journey began basically with failure. I noticed that I wasn't meeting the needs of some of my students. I know it began with my higher level students. I wasn't meeting their needs, and so what I thought of is if I were to self-pace and they were able to go at their own pace or their own speed and learn new topics that possibly I wouldn't teach them in 4th grade, that I would better meet their needs. But what I realized is that not only did I meet their needs, but I was meeting the need. I tried it with my other groups, and I was meeting their needs as well.
If they're a student that is ahead of the game, instead of sitting and waiting for me to teach the concept, they can work ahead. on their own and they're self-motivated, as well as for students that have some gaps and need some help going back and remediating, they can remediate.
The verb is always part of the predicate. What's the subject of that sentence?
Many people.
Many people, and ask yourself, what do many people do? They're basically teaching themselves. I have videos some that I made, some that I pulled off of the internet, and the students go through and they learn these topics on their own. They can take the test and move on, and they don't have to wait for everyone else to finish before we move on.
We do all the different skills of reading, like summaries or spell check, and we just keep on doing it. We go through different kinds of doing on an app called Google Classroom.
They're competing, but only against themselves, and so to see them feel that pride of not having to compete with the people around them, to watch them be in charge of their own learning, and they take control of that.
To get to that test today, what's your plan on how you're going to get there?
My plan of how I'm going to get there is I'm going to at least do Moby Max and Compass and save the fun for last. The charts is where after we take an assessment, like she has 4 stickers because she's passed 4 units of them. And every time we have passed a unit, we put a sticker up here, but it has to be an 80 or above. If we get it below an 80, you don't get your sticker up. It's kind of like taking a step forward to a different level.
I just think that if you settle and you stay where you are, you're going to be teaching the same thing and getting the same results. And kids need to be challenged and be able to move forward at their own pace.
You can have it all with the 7 habits. You will be a leader for the rest of your life. So first to understand, then to be understood. Together is better. Synergize, you should. Sharpen the saw, balance feels best. These habits will stop you from making life a mess. 'Cause you can have it all. Yes, you can have it all. It all, it all, it all. 'Cause you can have it all. With the 7 habits, you will be a leader for the rest of your life. 'Cause you can have